My name is Angela.
My name is Nicole.
And welcome to the Ominous Stitch podcast. Hello, Stitchers!
Hey, everybody.
Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Ominous Stitch podcast.
Thank you so much.
Yay! We are happy to have you, as always, Stitchers, and I'm happy to see so many more people listening.
Yes.
You guys, it is thrilling. So if you're a new listener, please say hello.
Yeah, reach out to us.
We want to know all of our listeners, and we want to, we do talk to you guys.
Yes, we do.
And sometimes we say, if you don't want your name on the podcast, we don't have to say it. You can say, please don't say my name on the podcast.
Anonymous.
We'll give you an alias.
Cool.
But
Stitcher 1.
Stitcher 1, Stitcher 2.
Oh, code names.
Yeah.
Angela's always
They're so creative code names. Stitcher 1, Stitcher 2.
We're so creative.
Yeah.
No, but Angela is always afraid that she scares people away because she does pounce. It's hilarious. But that's how excited she is and how excited we are.
It's so funny because if you ever met me in real life, I think I'm a lot like my alpacas. I want to know people.
But you're so introverted.
But I'm so introverted. So this is the perfect way to meet people because I don't have to meet you face to face. Because if I met you face to face,
in the eye.
Yeah, if I met you face to face, I'd be like, I don't know what to say. What do I do with my hands?
I feel like that's most crochet or people who play with yarn and
yes,
we are very weird.
I've noticed that when I'll watch TikTok and you'll have somebody, this is a trend on TikTok.
Yeah.
Or on Instagram Reels where it'll be somebody crocheting and they're just sitting there crocheting, not looking at the camera. And it's just hey, if you're watching this, my name is blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
This is what I do, right?
You're so right. We're going to make a video today.
Okay. Oh man, I better look pretty. I gotta put on some makeup.
No, you don't. You're always gorgeous.
You're sweet.
I know. But yes, we are a weird breed and we're so glad that you're listening to us and so happy you're part of our community.
Yay, so happy together.
True that.
Yes.
All right, but what's got you in stitches, Angela?
Okay.
So fun stories?
It's fun stories.
Sad
so
stories?
This has been, okay. Yes, it's funny. So I know, and it makes me cry because you'll see why. Don't cry out. No, you'll see. Okay, loud. I had to finish the word.
Squirrel.
So squirrel. I know. This week has been a really, really busy week for my family, and I'm 46, going through perimenopause.
Woo!
Yay, fun!
Oh,
and so
40s.
The hormones are fun. So anyway, it's got me in the feels a lot today. And so, dude, I'm going to cry.
She looks like she's going to cry.
I know, because I am. And my nose is going to start running too.
And then she's going to talk like this.
I'm going to slobber all over the place now.
You're going to be okay.
I can do this. I feel like Jason Kelsey when he was giving his speech.
You're not retiring on me, are you?
No, I'm not retiring.
No.
But oh my gosh.
It's emotional.
It's emotional. It gets me in the feels. So
I get it.
Children are miracles, right? And I look at my kids every day and I'm just like, you guys it's insane to me. They're just magic. Cause when they're babies, every time they do something new, you're like, oh my gosh, it's crazy,
so
right?
happy.
You're like, oh, you smiled,
it's
or
my core memories.
You took your first step,
yes.
Or you're saying words. And it's always such an incredible journey. And this week, my oldest, my son started baseball. He's my middle child. And so his season just started, and just watching him grow as an athlete and watching him go through the heartbreak. He had a really tough loss this week. They were
learning, huh?
And he was in tears and just upset. And, just the heartbreak of experiencing a big loss with your team. And, he's going through that. And I'm just like, wow, he's learning what it's like to be on a team and to push past that. And we talked about the importance of pushing past that and growing from it and saying, you know what, this was tough. What am I going to do to make sure that I'm better in the next game? Mm-hmm. Instead of saying, oh, that sucks, I'm a bad player, I can't play, which is kind of where he was. And so talking him through.
Normal.
Right. He's like, I'm not good at baseball. I'm like, well, first of all, he didn't have that many plays during the game. Because it wasn't his fault, the loss.
Yeah.
And it was a team effort, obviously.
That's why I love baseball.
There were things that, he had absolutely no control of as to why they lost. So anyway, and I'm like, you're not bad at baseball. We've just got to learn. And your team is like brand new. This is only your second game. And you guys grew so much from the first game and whatever. Going through all that with him. And my oldest is, on her first big field trip today, and she's going to get home like really late tonight.
Oh,
and
baby.
Me, I'm like, it's cute. She's in 7th grade. The whole 7th grade is going to medieval times.
Oh, I'm jealous.
And I know, me too. But
go.
She's like so excited.
I would be too.
And I'm going through the checklist with her. I'm like, do you have your phone? Do you have money? Do you have, whatever? And she looked at me and she goes, Mom, I've got this.
Oh,
right?
My gosh, my heart. Hey,
because she has everything.
Is this the farthest she's traveled without you?
No.
Okay.
My sister Becca, shout out to Becca, one of our patrons, did take her to LA.
Downtown.
Well, she took her downtown
so
for
similar distance,
and
but with a group of kids.
But with kids, and not with an aunt one-on-one.
Yes,
this is
relative.
Yeah, this is a big field trip far away. She's coming home late tonight. I have to pick her up at 10:00 tonight, and I'm just like, how am I going to be awake?
Yeah, how do you feel?
I'm just gonna drink a ton of coffee.
Aww.
But anyway, like, it's part of growing up.
Yes,
she's 13, but it just
Teenager.
goes so fast.
Really.
And the fact that she's responsible enough to be like, Mom, I have everything under control. I've got everything that I need. I'm fully prepared for this. And I know it's like medieval times and it's like a field trip and there's going to be adult supervision and people with her. But like,
that's the overall theme.
It's the idea of like,
you're letting her go.
I'm letting her grow up and they're all growing up and it's so fast.
Too quick.
And see, perimenopause has got me in the feels today, man.
It's like when it relates to when you're pregnant. I remember being pregnant and having, crying over commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's how I feel like you do this big, like curve, right? You're pregnant and you have the babies and life's cool. And then you do another like crazy loop and you're just emotional because you're seeing them grow up.
It's so fast. Like, she was inducted into the National Honor Society. I'm such a proud mom. That was, earlier this week, she was inducted. And I'm such a proud mom. I was like, look at her. She is like just awesome. And she's thriving. And it's so cool to see your kids develop into people. And it just happens so fast.
Human beings on their own.
So fast.
So what's the moral of the story?
Time, man.
But hug your babies, right?
Hug your babies.
They're growing fast, man.
Yeah. The days are long, but the years are super short.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And then the older you get, time just feels like it slips away.
It slips away faster and faster and faster.
So enjoy those little moments.
I just want to go hug my kids. Oh, man. But, man, it's got me in the feels big time.
I feel you. I do. I really do. And it's up and down days, It's crazy how, it does feel short sometimes, like you're saying. And then all of a sudden you look back and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I'm old.
Yeah.
And we're just getting older. But that's okay. That's life,
Yeah.
You just enjoy it.
I know.
Aww.
They're just such awesome
You're
people.
such a good mama.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And I always have, it's so funny because like during the week when I take them to school, I always have these big heart-to-heart moments and like we talk about everything and I hold nothing back. I just go off on these tangents. Like earlier this week, my son asked me about what happens when you die and do I believe in reincarnation?
Really?
Yes.
What did you tell him?
So I told him, yes, I believe in reincarnation. It's something that we've talked a lot about on this podcast and you in particular have done a lot of research on. And yes, I believe that when our physical bodies die, we move into a different dimension. Our spirits become part of another dimension. And based on all of the near-death experience research that we've done, there's a common theme that, you know, most of us experience the coming out of our body and seeing our body, astral projection. And then we go through a light. We're surrounded by loved beings, spirits of loved ones that we've known somehow in our past for lifetimes. And then a lot of times there is a supreme being that oversees everybody that you meet. You review your life that you just lived,
which I think is the coolest part.
And you can come back and relive your life. And we talked about the idea of maybe living on different planets.
Yes.
And we've talked about the idea of different multiverses.
Yes.
And then my kids went on a whole tangent about how if we live in a multiverse and there are people that are watching us right now and we might be like a comic strip to them, and then they're like pretending to break the fourth wall. It was really funny because it devolved into a conversation about the multiverse.
I love it.
Which was fine.
But you're talking to your kids, and I love that.
But the main thing, and I told them, I was like, the main reason why I believe in that is because my oldest daughter told me when I was pregnant with my youngest, because she was 4 at the time, or about 4 at the time, and could talk and complete sentences. She told me, Mommy, I have a little brother, which is true. He was already there. And yes, she told me when I was pregnant with him, when she was 1, she put her head on my tummy and she said, baby, because that was the extent of her conversation at the time. And then I found out I was pregnant a week later. But before I knew I was pregnant with my youngest, we were sitting on the couch and she goes, Mommy, I have a little brother. And I go, yes, you do. And she goes, and I have a little sister who is far away, but she has blonde hair and blue eyes, just like me. And she's 100% correct.
Right.
So she knew. And so that's like the biggest reason why I know why I believe in what I believe in. That's my conviction, because my daughter told me.
The little girl told you exactly what was happening.
So, okay, that was like a lot of
That's
Angela's
good.
in her feels kind of a moment for my stitch time. But
I think it's beautiful. And I am so happy that you share things like this, because there's people out there listening that are in your shoes, you know? So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
I love it. Kumbaya.
Kumbaya. So Nicole, what's got you in stitches?
Holy cow. I'm a little different than you.
That's okay. That's good. Pick up the mood.
Right. No, it was hilarious because I've been doing a lot of thinking about my life and where it is and what I want to do. First of all, I'm super happy doing this podcast with you.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, this is one of my highlights of my life. Being able to do something that we love and record
you're gonna
it.
make me cry some more.
Okay. Sorry. But anyway, I'm very happy. But so we're constantly talking about creating our own patterns.
Yes.
And so I was telling Angela, I was like, I got inspiration from a kid's coloring book. And I'm going to make a pattern based on this character. And I showed it to her. Okay, so this coloring book is called C is for Cthulhu.
That coloring book is awesome.
It's the best thing ever.
First of all, it's 100% the kind of coloring book that you would have for your children. But
the thing is, I think they got this as a gift from somebody else.
Oh,
I can't
really?
remember. Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
But we've had it for a long time. My kids just don't color anymore. It's been sitting around. I was cleaning up after them this was a week ago, and I found this again. And I was like, this is the cutest. It's really adorable. I love amigurumi. I've got to make a pattern off of Cthulhu. So I'm showing Angela, and Angela's like, what's Cthulhu?
Yeah, I don't know. Because, as you guys know, I know nothing. And Nicole tells me everything that I know.
Which is fun for me. I don't know why. I get a kick out of that. That's why we're the bestest friends. Okay. But anyway, if you don't know who Cthulhu is, go look him up. H.P. Lovecraft is an amazing author back in the early 1900s. And he wrote a bunch of horror books. And it's kind of paved the way for a lot of horror these days. creepy creatures. Oh, Cabinet of Curiosities. Do you remember that?
Yes. Okay. Quick shout out to one of my old college roommates, Holly Amber Church.
Oh, hey, Holly.
She wrote the theme song for Cabinet of Curiosities. No, and she was nominated for an Emmy for that.
Get it, girl.
Yeah.
Wow.
She didn't win, but she was nominated.
That is so cool.
And she writes for horror films. Holly Amber Church.
Holly, come write for us. Oh my gosh. That would be so cool. Anyway.
My old college roommate.
That is so cool. Okay. But yeah, look up Cthulhu if you've never heard of him. He's referenced in a lot of things too, movies. I have a shirt I have to wear for you. I'll wear it next time.
Okay.
It's one of my favorites. But anyway, so Cthulhu, he's this huge being. He looks like an octopus.
An octopus wings. Dragon. He's cute. The coloring book is cute.
The coloring book is cute. I don't know. The creature itself is scary.
I'm sure.
I'll find a TikTok video that people think he's out in the ocean. It's crazy.
Oh.
Look it up. Anyway, but that's my one of my first patterns. I gotta finish. Ooh, I'm so excited.
We're hitting the microphone.
I have to finish 2 projects. Mm-hmm. We always do this, right? There's things that we have to finish. I'm a crocheter. I have a million projects to do. Always. But then I'm going to work on this pattern. But yeah.
Oh, you did it right. I'm a crocheter. Of course I have a million whips.
Of course. So yeah, I just got excited. I wanted to share that with all of you. Yay. Cthulhu.
I don't know. He's cute on your coloring book. I know. There's so much I don't know. There's just so much I don't know, and I'm learning, and I'm excited. I'm excited to learn a lot.
So I'm showing her. These are the images of him more like this and this. That's really
no. I like the cute Cthulhu. He's all like round and tubby, and his tentacles are tiny, and he's got super tiny wings.
Yeah, no, he's definitely opposite of what he really is.
But still, that's awesome, though.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, so that's
my daughter would love it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that fantasy horror realm.
Yeah. But she loves that.
But make it kawaii.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do here.
Make it cute.
Yeah. So anyway,
spooky, scary monsters, but cute.
That's my theme, man.
Okay. I love it.
So yeah, but I'm excited about this episode.
I'm excited too.
Because this is not our normal haunted or serial killer.
Well, I mean, sometimes it comes up in the paranormal haunted things.
True.
Because we talked about time. Oh, I'm giving it away.
That's okay.
They read the title. They read the title. We've talked about time slips like on the haunted road trips.
That's right.
And we talked about time slips a little bit in the haunted castles as well.
And aliens too.
And aliens. There's time. So we've talked about time slips, but now we're going to talk about them.
No, I'm going to give you some cool examples of real life time slips.
Ooh, yes. I'm excited.
I'm so happy to share this with you.
It's going to be so good.
But the first, you made me laugh so hard.
Oh my gosh. Nicole's mind needs to get out of the gutter, you guys. But you can judge for yourself.
I'm going to post pictures. I'm going to put a poll up. You tell me.
Put a poll up?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you think this looks like?
No. It's a cable. It's a cable. It's a cable. It's a cable.
Okay. Sure.
All right. Well, are we ready to get stitching?
Yes.
Let's get stitching. Okay, Stitchers, here's me and my sweet little innocent brain. And I'm like, you know what? I really want to do a deep dive on cabling and learn different ways to cable. So we've talked about cables before on the podcast where it's mostly like front post double crochets or front post double triple crochets or triple crochets, whatever.
Yes.
But it's front post. And so that's what makes the cabling stand out. And you just kind of weave them around back and forth, right? Mm-hmm. This is a different way to do cabling. And so I did kind of like a little study on this. And I got this from this book that I've used before, but I haven't pulled it out in a long time.
I remember this book.
Yeah. So it's the New Crochet Stitch Dictionary, although I'm sure it's not that new.
Yeah, when did this come out?
That's a good question. Let me see if I can find
I'm going to guess
the date.
2009.
That sounds about right. Let's see. This came out Okay, so this came out way more recently than I was expecting it to, but copyright is 2018.
Where did you get it from?
In Stuttgart, Germany. Amazon.
Oh, okay.
I ordered it off of Amazon. So the new crochet stitch dictionary, it has 440 patterns, and it's got textures, shells, bobbles, lace, cables, chevrons, edging, granny squares, and more.
Ooh.
By Nelle Bras and Eveline. I think that's what it is. Eveline Hetty Burkhart.
My question, we don't have to put this in the podcast if you don't want to. When people publish dictionaries like this and it's not their stitch,
yes,
can they make money off of that?
I don't know. They make money off of the book sale because they compiled the
right. But what happens if somebody like made those stitches?
Well, I think these stitches are
like basic
it's
ones.
Not a pattern, so these are basic stitches that you can learn. And yes, it does kind of go into a pattern, but they aren't giving you a pattern of like, this is a blanket,
got it,
this is this is how you group these stitches together, this is the pattern for this type of look that you want to go for, this type of stitch that you want to do. So I think that that's okay because they're just teaching you a technique.
So we could do that too.
We could put together a dictionary. Oh my gosh, we'll just make up stitches, but I don't know. We'll see. We could do that.
I'm curious. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, so this is called the Easy Loop cable.
Easy Loop
cable.
Easy.
Nicole. Oh, Nicole. Her brain is in the gutter, let me tell you.
I'm just having fun.
It actually is really easy. So I learned it off of, there's a chart here. And a chart, yes. And they do, what I like about this book is that they do show the chart and then they do kind of talk you through it and walk you through it so that you understand how it works.
And the chart can be left and right-handed, right?
Well, for lefties, you read it backwards. We have to read it backwards because of where the turning chains are.
We need a left-handed book, Angela.
Right. Oh, a left-handed crochet dictionary. Okay. We can do it. All right. So the Easy Loop cable is very, very easy. Basically, you need to learn 3 stitches. So it's alternating rows of single crochets or double crochets, depending upon what you're doing. If you're on the right side, it's one, let's see, I think the right side is a single crochet and the wrong side is a double crochet. But anyway, on the double crochet rows, you crochet 4 or whatever the pattern repeat is, chain 10, and then you do another crochet of 4. This pattern calls for a 4 stitch repeat.
Got it. I see that.
So it's
4, 10,
4,
4.
Yeah, 4, chain 10, 4, chain 10, 4, chain 10. On the return row, it's a single crochet. And you're either chaining 3 or chaining 1 for the turn.
Oh, okay.
The chain 3 will count as a stitch.
Yeah, okay.
The single turning chain does not count as a stitch. Kind of normal crochet rules, right?
Got it.
And so you do that all the way up. When you're about to finish, you always finish on the single crochet row. But when you're about to finish your project, you go back and start weaving the loops through each other.
That's so cool.
So the bottom loop will be pulled up to the loop above and you feed the loop above through that loop and then through the next loop and then through the next loop. Putting loops through a loop, which is crochet or knit. That's what we're doing. So that's what you're doing. It's called a braided loop. So you're just pulling the loops through the loop above. Mm-hmm. And then on the final pass, which is a single crochet pass, you're going to single crochet that last loop to the top. All the loops are held in place because they are fed through the loop before it.
Oh, that's so neat. So it holds it down.
So it holds it down.
Very
and
cool.
all the loops are fed before it. And you have this really nice little braided cable that
it's like a 3D.
Very simple. It's a 3D cable and you don't have to worry about doing front post double crochets or front post single crochets because it's just these loops.
That's so cool.
And it makes a really pretty little braid.
I love it.
Yeah. So that's it. Easy loop cable.
So the picture they're
changing colors.
They're changing?
Yeah.
Or is it variegated yarn?
No, they're changing colors.
They are? Okay.
Yeah. So it shows you in the chart when to change the colors.
That's so cool.
Right?
Yeah.
I did mine all in one color because I was, just trying to do a quick little sample.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's nice in one color too. And I think it's a great little effect. This one would work well if you were, doing a sweater or a pillow or something and you just wanted to have a nice little texture to it. So it's a nice little texture. The holes aren't that big in it.
It's a smaller.
There are other cables where there are bigger holes in it. So, which we will discover because I did a few of these, guys. So be on the lookout in the next future podcast. We will go over some other cables that I've been studying now.
That's so cool. If you made this a sweater though, you'd probably want to wear something underneath because
it's the double crochets. The double crochets make it holy.
Oh, remember I showed you was it a tank top shirt from Old Navy that looks so cool?
Uh-huh.
And you're like, yes, we can make that.
I don't remember, but yes. I will agree. Yes.
Okay. I forgot about that. And don't let me forget it after we talk about it. But I was just wondering what kind of pattern it would look like.
Okay.
But you could this is more thick though. So you wouldn't want to make it like a cover up because I think that's what they were going for.
Oh yeah.
This is not, this is more sweater. Yeah.
This would be more of a sweater because it is thicker than a cover up.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. So it's just a fun little texture. It's an easy cable to learn.
It's pretty.
And yeah, it's very pretty.
The changing colors looks really cool.
Yeah, the changing colors because each loop is a different color. Yeah. You change loops for one round of double crochets and one round of single crochets, and then you go to the next color.
So it sets it up.
Yeah, and so what's great about that is that you aren't cutting your yarn. You can just leave it.
I love that.
And then pull it up around, so you don't have all of these ends that you have to tie in because you're returning the pass. You aren't ending the color,
right? So you're kind of tying it to the next one.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
So you can keep the color going that way.
Yeah, I like that. I wonder if you use variegated yarn too. Would it change? Would it?
Well, it would. I think variegated yarn would look cool. It's just not going to. The loops aren't going to be different colors.
Yes,
it's going to be variegated. Yeah, so that would be
pretty
cool
too.
Yeah,
cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love
that's the easy loop cable. And when you guys see a picture, you can probably figure out where Nicole's little dirty mind went.
The bigger one is worse.
Yes.
And the one she's going to talk about.
The one I'm going to talk about in our next podcast.
But anyway,
it looks more like what she thinks it looks like.
My dirty mind. I'm sure you all think it too.
Oh, I love it. Oh, but that's it for Stitch Time.
I love it.
I am so ready to go on a time slip.
I'm so excited to share these with you because it blew my mind. I love doing this because I learn new things constantly too when I'm researching, and I'm very excited to share this with you.
I'm excited. So should we get to story time?
Yes.
It's story time.
This week's episode, I'm discussing something pretty controversial because some think this is possible and many really don't. Do you agree?
I agree that it's controversial. Yes.
Yes.
I agree that people. I'm sorry. I'm hitting.
we keep hitting our microphones. Today.
At first, it was my cat rubbing up on the mics, and now it's just
us.
Nicole. User error. We can't do it. We can't podcast.
No, we're doing it.
I agree that it's controversial. Do I agree time slippage is possible? Sure, because enough people have experienced it, and so when a lot of people experience something, I tend to not disagree with them. I'm like, it's your experience. You experienced it. Just because I personally have not experienced time slippage. Really. I mean, I understand how it would work, especially because I believe that there are other dimensions beyond what we can comprehend.
Right.
Because we are in a 3D world. I believe that when we transition into the next dimension, when we leave our 3D body, three-dimensional body, and we become spirit, I believe that time and place don't exist. Because it has to exist because we're in that kind of physical based realm. We have to have time and space to help us understand the realm that we're in. But once we're in spirit form and we don't have a defined form, I think we can exist in any point in time and space that we want to. So yes, I do believe that time slippage is possible. I don't know how it's possible in our physical forms.
Right.
But I know that people that have had alien encounters, experienced time slippage. So maybe they understand it, because when we've talked about aliens before, we've talked about how the spaceships move way differently than how they physically can move, how we expect physics to work in our natural world. They defy that. And so they might have an idea of how to move through time and space. So
a little better than us, huh?
Yeah. So yes.
We did briefly talk about this a little bit with the last episode of the Broadhaven Triangle. Do you remember when the aliens came out of the door, and coming back and forth? Anyway, there's some cool ideas. So when I was doing research, you're talking about a lot of things that that a lot of people are still, trying to divulge and figure out. But it's funny because we're moving into future every second of every day, right?
Yes.
So we're constantly, time is just such a weird thing to us. But I'm talking about if we move around, between years and decades and centuries even, right? Right.
You know what? Okay, this reminded me, and I don't know, you probably don't have this, but this reminded me of a story that I found in a Reddit that I was reading, and it's a paranormal Reddit. And this story popped up, and I was going to tell you about it. So I'm going to tell you now.
Okay, good.
It's so cool.
Sure.
So this girl pops in, and she's like, did I see my own ghost, or am I a ghost or something?
Okay.
So what happened is, and I'll tell you what I think happened for her. Okay. I'm totally butting in on this episode.
No, I love this. This is why I do this with you.
So she was always very close with her grandma, and they would go visit her grandma in whatever small town that she lived in, and she knew her way around the town very, very well. And she and her mom were traveling down this road, and she's like, oh, there's an old house on this road that grandma and I used to drive by. And she's like, where was the old house? And she's like, oh, it's right here, but it wasn't there anymore. And she's like, no, there was like a white house with a porch, and I used to go play with a girl there and on this porch, and grandma would take me, and I'd go play with this girl on this porch. And I might be getting the story a little bit, like, it was more detailed, and it was really, really cool.
Sure.
But these are the highlights that I remember. And so they go to that, they're driving down the lane, and the mom kind of gets quiet, and she's like, well, what's going on, Mom? And she goes, when I was a little girl, Mom used to take me here, and there was a house here, but it burned down several years ago. And before you were born, the house burned down. And when I was a little girl, Mom, your grandma used to take me here, and there was a little girl who looked like you that I used to play with.
Oh.
And nobody knew where she came from. She would just show up, and I would play with her. And then, that was it. And it was her daughter that she used to play with when she was little. So here's what I think happened. I think that there really was a little girl that her mom used to play with when she was a little girl.
Right.
Okay. And then something happened to that little girl. She died or something happened there. And then she reincarnated as the mom's daughter. And so she still has the memories from when she was a little girl. That little girl playing with her mom.
Yeah.
And so that's why she can remember
Holy
going
crap.
there and playing.
Yeah.
So that's what I think.
That's a cool theory.
It could be a time slip.
It could be. It could be her figuring out a wormhole or something.
Yeah.
But
when she was
crazy.
little.
Yes.
At the time of telling this, she was
grown up.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Right?
Yes.
So anyway, I thought that was a cool story.
I love that.
She's like, what happened? Am I my own ghost? So that's so anyway.
That's okay. No. But I was just going to put out there are so many theories of time slips and why they happen. Like I said, wormholes.
Yes.
There's so much research going on about black holes and the string theory, which again, in a nutshell, that idea in reality is made of infinitesimal vibrating strings smaller than atoms, electrons, or quarks. As strings vibrate, twist, and fold, they produce effects in many tiny dimensions that humans interpret as everything from particle physics to large-scale phenomena like gravity. Thanks, space.com. But When I was doing this too, I was thinking about the Avengers because they are all about time, and I still try to understand that theory. And I can't.
Right. Well, the whole like quantum world.
Yes, the quantum world. And I was like, yeah, wouldn't you want to go back and murder baby Thanos? And then it doesn't work that way, they said. And I'm like, why though? See, I'm still baffled. There's so many. Anyway, I love it. Time's crazy. But doing my research, there were so many interesting stories out there that made me go, is like time just something that we can move around quickly around? I don't know. It's crazy. Okay, but I'm going to give you some stories, and I love this.
Yay.
Okay, so this is called The Time Traveler. This was an article that was released in 1988 in Strange Magazine 2. Okay. Now this, for me, this could be a time slip or a residual haunt.
Okay.
And you tell me what you think, okay?
Okay.
All right. This was written by Ken Moe, Meaux. So I'm going to say Moe.
Oh, French.
Yeah.
Yes. Moe.
He claimed he had interviewed all parties involved in the story, which includes a true friend of his with the real initials of LC.
Okay.
Apparently, this event still haunted him to that day when he wrote this article, because the event took place on October 20th of 1969.
Okay.
All right. So the story goes, LC and his business associate, which they gave him the fake name of Charlie, they were in the Southwest Louisiana area finishing some lunch in Abbeville. Once complete, still discussing work, they hopped in their car and drove up Highway 167 towards the oil center city of Lafayette. This is roughly 15 miles away. And it's in the middle of the day, 1:30 p.m. Okay. It was not dark, and there were clear blue skies out.
Okay.
Got a picture?
Yes.
Okay. It was about 60 degrees, and they decided to drive with their windows down.
Okay.
So it's nice.
Yeah.
Traffic wasn't bad, but then at one point in the distance ahead, they noticed an old turtleback type car that was driving really slowly. This caught their attention, and they stopped talking about business as they started to catch up with the vehicle. This vehicle was at least decades old, but pristine, like showroom condition. You've seen those, yeah?
Yeah. That's fun. Like, that happens a lot around here,
Yes.
where people go cruising on Sunday with their like old Model Ts. Or
Right, we
whatever.
have the roads for that.
Yeah.
Okay. They decided to pass the car, but before they did, they tried to slow and view the car because it was really nice. LC was able to notice a very large, bright orange license plate with the year 1940 clearly printed.
Okay.
This was odd because most likely it's illegal, because at this point their antique cars shouldn't be on the road and used only for ceremonial parades.
Okay.
There should be some tag that says, on this way, or there'd be more cars, right? Not just this one, usually.
Usually.
Yeah.
Yeah. You notice when you,
Something's up. So they went around to the left of the antique car, and LC, which he was in the passenger seat, so he was able to see this very clearly, could see the driver. So the driver was a young woman dressed in 1940s vintage clothing, talking a hat with a long colored feather and a fur coat. It's 1969. Many women did not dress like this at this time, right?
Right. Okay.
But okay, sure.
It's, 20 years. Yeah. Gotcha.
It's almost 30 years.
And it's not like that was the fashion, like kind of how it is now. Everyone
can wear whatever you want to wear. Yeah. But no, this was a little out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe they're still matching their decades because of this car. Sure.
Yeah.
But in the passenger seat was a small child. The gender was unknown because they were wearing a heavy coat and a cap as well. The windows of the vehicle were up. When they pulled alongside, Elsie noticed the facial expressions on the woman were that of fear. She was panicked and scared. She was frantically looking back and forth, indicating she was potentially lost and or in need of assistance.
Oh.
And she was on the brink of tears.
Oh.
Elsie called out, asked if she needed help. Remember, his windows are open.
Right.
She responded with a nod, yes, but while looking down. Elsie motioned her to pull over and park on the side of the road repeatedly with hand signs and mouthing the words. He didn't think she could hear them through the windows, but she did indeed start pulling off the road.
Okay.
Yeah. Elsie and Charlie drove up in front of her on the shoulder. When they came to a complete stop, they turned to look at the old car behind them, but nothing. The car completely vanished. This was an open highway. They watched the car pull over. There were no ditches. There's no way they could have sped by or turned around in that amount of time.
I got chills, Nicole.
Spooky.
Oh, I love it.
The shock left them quiet and they were looking all around the highway. But soon after, a driver of another vehicle that had been behind the old car pulled onto the shoulder behind them. The male driver ran to Elsie and Charlie and, bewildered, started shouting at them, asking where the old car went.
Yay!
Right?
I love this one so good. That's a great story.
Yes, this was his account. He was driving north on Highway 167 as well when he saw a new car passing a very old car at the slowest pace. He saw the new car pull onto the shoulder and the old car doing the same, but behind the new car. The old car momentarily blocked the new car, then suddenly disappeared. The only thing he could see in front on the side was a new car on the shoulder of the highway. He assumed an accident had occurred, but he couldn't figure it out.
She disappeared. Disappeared.
They all discussed what had happened to them, and the three men combed the area for an hour.
Wow.
This third new man insisted they report it to the police, and mind you, he was from out of state. He thought that this was more of a missing person case and there were witnesses. But Elsie and Charlie did not like this idea and refused because they had no explanation on where the woman, child, and complete car had gone.
Yeah. That would be, yeah. I kind of side with them. It's like,
right?
What are we reporting?
How are we?
That there was a woman who seemed to be in distress with a kid in the car and then they disappeared. Come on. There's no
one's going to believe them.
There's no physical evidence of anything, so the cops really can't do anything.
No, they're going to think they're on drugs.
Do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The third man finally said that if they weren't going to cooperate, he couldn't report it on his home because then they'd really think he's nuts.
Right. Yeah.
However, they all did exchange addresses and phone numbers. And yes, Elsie kept in touch with both of them for years, calling to rehash what happened and confirmed what he saw and experienced.
Yeah. It's like, am I crazy, guys?
Yeah,
no,
did I remember this right?
Wow.
Elsie's theory is, what if she was indeed from the past and went forward in time, returned, and that she might be living today, but older? Or what if she had come from the past, traveled into the future, and did not return to the past?
So yeah, 30 years, like at least the kid would still be around if
Correct.
she wasn't. Yeah.
Right. But how do you find them?
Right.
Maybe.
License plate? Do you remember that?
They just said it said 1940.
Oh.
Maybe she and her child are still traveling in and out of various time zones. Isn't that scary? Wouldn't that be the scariest thought? What if you couldn't get back home? What if you're like, it's a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah. Quantum leap. You're just stuck.
Yes. You can't figure out your mission apparently. Okay. So that was that incident. Okay. I got a new one.
So you think it was a residual haunting?
I don't know, because it could have been.
It could have been because, she could be doomed to continue to do that. But wow.
But during the day
and it being not
and
like
multiple
ghost
witnesses,
looking, it was very solid.
Yes, it looked real.
And multiple people from different vantage points.
Yes.
Because it was so solid. Time slip maybe. Yeah, that's cool, Nicole.
What happened?
Where
Energy.
did she go?
Okay. Our next one, it's an older, interesting account that involves possible time travel and ghosts. Many have claimed to debunk their story, but I'll leave it up to you to decide if they really experienced this or not. We descend upon Charlotte Ann Moberly, born 1846, as the 10th out of 15 children.
Oh my God.
15. Her father, George Moberly, was the headmaster of Winchester College and later bishop of Salisbury. Charlotte Moberly became the first principal of a hall of residence for young women, St. Hugh's College in Oxford, in 1886.
Oh, go for her.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She needed some assistance to run the college, and so she asked Eleanor Jourdan to be her assistant. Now, Eleanor Jourdan, born 1863, was the eldest of 10 children. Lots of kids back then.
Yeah.
Her father was Reverend Francis Jourdan, vicar of Ashburn in Derbyshire. Derbyshire. Cool. She attended school.
I'm sure it's Derbyshire.
Yeah, something crazy that I can't pronounce. There you go. She attended school in Manchester, unlike many girls of the time who were educated at home. Jourdan went on to author several textbooks, run a school, and later become vice principal at St. Hugh's College. I got a picture for you.
That is awesome. Go women in 1800s. They are awesome.
Before Jourdan was appointed, though, they decided they needed to get to know each other better, which meant Moberly went to stay with Jourdan in her apartment in Paris, where she tutored English children. Pretty cool. While in Paris, they decided to take a few trips together, which on August 10th, 1901, they decided to visit the Palace of Versailles by train. It was just okay to them, I guess. So that's what there was nothing about it. Like, oh, cool.
The grounds are awesome. The palace itself, well, at least when I went, it was way too crowded. I couldn't really see anything.
Touristy.
Yeah.
Dang.
But the gardens, man.
Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about a little bit.
Okay.
So they agreed to walk through the gardens to the Trianon, a neoclassical style chateau on the grounds. The building was built between 1762 and 1768 during the King Louis XV's reign. And this is a photo I'm showing you of the building.
Yes, cool. It's beautiful. He built it for one of his mistresses.
Hey. Sadly, when they reached the Grand Trianon, French Baroque style chateau, it was closed to the public. They had been traveling with I think it's called a Baedeker guidebook, but they still got lost after missing the turn for the main avenue, the Allée des Deux Trianons, and came upon a different lane where they bypassed their destination. When Moberly looked around, she saw a woman shaking a white cloth out of a window, and while Jourdan looked up, she noticed an old deserted farmhouse outside of which was an old plow. So things start to look a little different. Okay. They both then described a feeling of oppression and dreariness coming over them, after which men who they thought looked like palace gardeners told them to go straight on. The description Moberly gave of the men was very dignified officials dressed in long grayish green coats with small three-cornered hats.
Okay.
Jourdan was all about the farm simple life, because then she noticed a cottage with a woman holding out a jug to a girl in the doorway as if it was a living picture. Moberly didn't notice the cottage, but she did mention that the atmosphere felt like it shifted. She wrote, everything suddenly looked unnatural, therefore unpleasant. Even the trees seemed to become flat and lifeless, like woodworked in tapestry. There were no effects of light and shade, and no wind stirred the trees.
So it felt like they were stepping into an old ancient painting of a farmhouse.
Yeah, of the farmland.
The farmland, yeah.
In France.
Interesting.
As the two ladies reached the edge of a wood close to the Temple de la Mort, the big statue area, this is what it looked like. Okay, cool. They came across a man seated beside a garden kiosk donning a cloak and large shady hat. Moberly described his appearance as most repulsive.
Oh, no.
Yes, its expression odious. His complexion was dark and rough. And Jourdan noted the man slowly turned his face, which was marked by smallpox. His complexion was very dark. The expression was evil and yet unseeing. And though I did feel that he was looking particularly at us, I felt a repugnance to going past him.
Oh, interesting.
Then another man who was tall with dark eyes and wearing a large sombrero hat approached them and showed them the way to the Petit Trianon. Okay. On the way, Moberly saw a lady sketching on the grass who looked at them after they crossed a bridge to reach the gardens in front of the palace. The lady was wearing a light summer dress and a shady white hat with a lot of fair hair. Okay. Moberly's impression was that she was a tourist, but her dress was very old-fashioned. Jourdan did not see the lady. Moberly later believed this lady was Marie Antoinette.
Ah.
And this is what they think she looked very similar to.
Yeah.
And that's Marie Antoinette.
Yeah.
Okay. Once they arrived to the palace, again, they reported that they were directed round to the entrance and joined a party of other visitors. After they all toured the house, they had tea at the Hotel des Reservoirs before returning to Jourdan's apartment. So they were able to get home after all this.
Okay.
Yeah. A week after they left Versailles, Moberly wrote a letter to her sister about their trip and added that odd visit. She then asked Jourdan if she thought the Petit Trianon was haunted, and Jourdan responded with a resounding yes. 3 months later in Oxford, they compared notes and decided to write separate accounts of what happened while researching the history of the Trianon. They believe they stepped back in time to August 10th, 1792, 6 weeks before the abolition of the French monarchy.
Oh, interesting.
So the pair visited the Trianon Gardens again to see if they could figure out what happened, but they were unable to trace the path they took. Various landmarks like the kiosk and the bridge were completely missing, and the grounds were full of people. They thought, well, maybe they stumbled upon a private party, but they were able to throw that idea out because nothing had been booked that afternoon. They did more digging and realized that the man they believed they saw at the kiosk was Comte de Vaudreuil, I'm going to guess, a friend of Marie Antoinette. So they think they saw this guy.
Oh, what?
Right?
That's cool.
Okay. After much research and visits, they concluded that the grounds were indeed haunted and decided to publish their story in a book called An Adventure, published in 1911, under the pseudonyms of Elizabeth Morrison and Frances Lamont. The book caused a sensation and critics didn't take it seriously at all. Eleanor Mildred Sidgwick, in the Proceedings of the Society for Psychical Research, believed the women misinterpreted normal events they had experienced. Someone also pointed out that no old maps displayed a bridge the two women claimed to cross in the Trianon Gardens. But both women claimed many paranormal experiences before and after the adventure in Paris, such as Moberly claiming to have seen an apparition of the Roman Emperor Constantine in the Louvre in 1914.
Ooh.
A man of unusual height wearing a gold crown and a toga. Yet no one else observed the apparition.
Oh, what?
So she's seeing things, okay?
Yeah.
And during the First World War, Jourdan became convinced a German spy was hiding in the college. So their things are happening to them left and right that they just can't explain, okay? She suddenly passed away in 1924 in the middle of an academic scandal over her leadership of the college.
Aww.
Yeah, she was developing increasingly autocratic behavior, aka absolute power. Yeah. Think of
Yeah. Let's not get political.
yeah. No, I was thinking of Harry Potter. I was thinking of Umbridge.
Yeah.
Oh. I feel like that's what was happening to her mentally. I don't know why.
Ugh.
But many staff members were resigning at that same time. So
yeah.
But there you go. What do you think?
I think it's interesting. I think it's, okay. I want to believe their account. I want to believe that they believe what they were doing. It could have been people role playing that they stumbled in.
Yeah.
The grounds of Versailles are insanely massive. And so I could see how easy it is to get turned around.
Get lost.
Like, you guys, if you haven't been to Versailles, it's insane. It's huge, right? How huge the grounds are, and how far apart these palaces are that go along the Grand Canal. And then there's all these different paths and gardens and ways to kind of quote unquote get lost, because it was designed that way on purpose so that people could sneak off and have little trysts together and have all these little things. During the time of, because I studied this a little bit because, I loved it. I loved the French culture. So anyway, so during the time of Marie Antoinette's reign, when she and Louis were in the palace grounds were filled with people. Like everybody was there. Everybody was on the grounds. Like it was packed with people always. And now it's still packed with people because tourists. Yeah. But even you can have thousands of people in the gardens and feel like you're alone.
That's crazy.
Because it's so massive.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
So they could have felt like that.
So they could have gotten lost. There could have been some reenacting happening.
Right.
And they could have, caught people just reenacting or doing something else, and it could have felt strange and looked strange to them. Who knows what they experienced, but it's cool,
the fact that
though.
they put it in a book. That's why I think it catches so much attention.
Yeah.
Is that they wrote about it. And the skeptics were like, well, they changed their stories over time and blah, blah, blah. So it could have been real to them.
And it feels like, they were referring a lot to artwork and painting. And that was another thing, like when you talked about how, I don't remember which one, if it was Jardin or the other one that was, that saw, at the Louvre.
Yeah, that was Moberly.
Moberly.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like, if you're in these settings around all these great pieces of art, which Versailles is a great piece of art. Mm-hmm. So the Louvre has all these big, beautiful pieces of art. So I feel like maybe they are fantasizing about the art that they're experiencing, and they're writing stories based on that.
And maybe they had some mushrooms.
Because a little drug enhancement happening.
Mushrooms might do that to you, where you feel like you're in a painting.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway.
That's funny.
Well, we'll keep going. I threw that one in because I thought that was interesting.
It's cool. I mean, their account is a time slip. Yeah. Whether I believe it or not, I tend to not believe that one. It feels like it's more of a work of fiction.
Yeah.
I believe the car one way more than this one. Yeah.
I agree with you. This next one is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, because this involves a military man.
Ooh. Okay.
So this involves time slips, ghosts, and a clairvoyant incident.
Ooh.
Yes. It seems like this one person, though, may have been, drawing that type of energy. Who knows? But out of all the time travel stories I've researched, this seems to be the most legit.
Woo! Okay? Too legit to quit. Hey. Okay, sorry.
All right. I'm going to show you a picture. Okay. I'm going to give you an outline of Victor Goddard's life. Goddard's?
Yes.
Cool. To see what we went through, or what he went through as a prominent member of society, mostly to the Royal Air Force. All right. So Victor was born February 6th, 1897 in Wembley, London. Victor Goddard's father was a wealthy doctor. He attended St. George's School in Harpenden, then went on to the Royal Naval Colleges at Osborne and Dartmouth. He went on to serve as a midshipman in the first year of the First World War, and in 1915 joined the Royal Naval Air Force. There, he was able to fly recon when needed. After World War I, he still utilized his flying skills as he served as an instructor for the Jesus College, Cambridge's Air Squadron in 1925. Then by 1935, Goddard was appointed Deputy Director of Intelligence for the Air Ministry. See, this guy is smart. He's, working hard. He's serving.
Moving through the ranks.
Yes.
Yeah.
When World War II hit, Goddard was sent over to France with the British Expeditionary Force. And I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong. I keep looking at it. It's Goddard. What would you say?
Goddard.
Okay, we're going to go with that. All right. So there, he was the Director of Military Cooperation for the Air Ministry, then became the Air Commodore Chief of the Air Staff, Royal New Zealand Air Force. Goddard fought in the Battle of Guadalcanal and the Solomon Islands campaign, for which he was presented with the U.S. Navy's Distinguished Service Medal.
Oh.
This guy's legit.
Yeah.
In 1943, Goddard was then sent to India to help take charge of administration for the Air Command of Southeast Asia Command, SEAC. His role then changed in 1946 when he became the RAF's representative in Washington, D.C. Goddard retired in 1951, but went on to become the principal of the College of Aeronautics until 1954. He was also governor of St. George's School, Harpenden, and of Bryanston School, and was president of the Airship Association from 1975 to 1984. This guy saw a lot.
He's legit, man. He's like well respected.
Yes.
As an intelligent, well respected as a RAF, Air Force.
Yes.
Okay. Military person and as an instructor, as a teacher. So he's smart. He's decorated.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at.
We got it. Okay.
Now, fun fact, and you're going to hear why soon. He encouraged Sir George Trevelyan to set up the Wreckin Trust, a body promoting spiritual education in 1971. He spent many years investigating and lecturing on flying saucers.
Oh.
In 1969, he gave a talk about UFOs at Caxton Hall in London, in which he defended the paraphysical hypothesis, basically that UFO sightings are the result of experiencing other dimensions that coexist separately alongside our own.
Okay, I like this guy. So, yes.
Right?
I get it, man. I agree with him.
He also argued for extrasensory perception and other phenomena in his book, Flight Towards Reality, published in 1975. Goddard's first paranormal encounter happened during World War I. And this is a quite popular story / photo. You might have seen this. I might have even talked about this at one point. You see, Victor Goddard was commanding a squadron during World War I when air mechanic Freddie Jackson was killed at the HM Naval Seaplane Training School, later known as the HMS Daedalus. Sadly, Jackson had walked right into a rotating propeller and died from his injuries. The day of Jackson's funeral, the entire crew of the Daedalus posed for a picture. When the photo was developed, upon further inspection, they noticed something strange. On the top row, you can clearly see Freddie Jackson. Some believe he didn't know he was dead yet. Some believe this was the same area where Jackson met his untimely death. Either way, Goddard was part of this eerie photo. Okay, I have it. Oh my God, where did it go? Hold on.
Okay,
so there's a big photo.
Okay, yes, I see.
They zoomed in the back.
So this is Freddie, and he's that dude. You have shown me this before.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, so Freddie is the guy
not
behind. It's not Victor. That's not Victor in the individual photo.
But
Victor's somewhere in here. He was the crew in this.
Right.
But you see the face behind the back.
Oh, yes. Where is that one?
He's up here.
Wow. That's cool.
So you see something, right?
It's a person hiding behind the person. He's like peeking out like, hi, I'm here. And that's the expression on his face is like, hi guys, I'm here. I got chills everywhere, Nicole. That's
And everyone
crazy.
says that's Freddie Jackson.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
That's cool.
Part of Victor Goddard's life. Okay.
Yeah.
The second experience is that of today's topic. So I'll save this for last. Okay. So coming back. The third strange experience happened January 1946 while in China. While attending a party in Shanghai, he was scheduled to fly to Tokyo that same night. Another officer was chatting away, stating he had a dream in which Goddard was killed in a plane crash.
Oh, that's not good.
Not cool. In the dream, an aircraft was carrying Goddard, 2 other men, and a woman when experienced difficulties with atmospheric icing and crashed on a pebbled beach near mountains.
Oh, wow.
Sure enough, that night that he was to fly to Tokyo, he was persuaded to take 2 men and a woman on the Douglas Dakota transport.
Uh-oh.
Just like the dream, the Dakota plane indeed iced over and was forced to make a crash landing on the Japanese island of Sado. And that crash scene
is a pebbled beach
near mountains. But thankfully, this is the crazy part, no one was injured in the crash. So the dream was not 100% accurate. But the setting and the fact
I think
happened.
maybe in the dream he had to die so that it made it important enough for that guy to tell him. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, that's crazy.
Spooky.
I love that.
Now, again, I left the main event for last.
Okay.
It's 1935. Goddard was a wing commander at the time. Goddard was flying a Hawker Hart biplane from Andover, England to Edinburgh, Scotland for a weekend visit. Main mission was to scout an abandoned Scottish airfield in the village of Drem, which was decommissioned at the time. This abandoned airfield was constructed during the First World War, but was known to be in complete shambles. The tarmac and 4 hangars were in disrepair, barbed wire divided the field into numerous pastures, and cattle grazed everywhere, for it was basically now used as a farm. He took a look at it on Sunday and took note of the decrepit airfield. He saw it.
Okay. Yep.
Monday, Goddard began to fly back to his home base, but he hit some pretty rough weather. I'm talking low clouds and heavy rain. Goddard's cockpit was open. How? I don't know. And over mountainous terrain. So he was flying without radio navigational aids or cloud flying instruments. He thought he could possibly climb over the clouds, but as he reached 8,000 feet, there was no break in the clouds, which to me, that's crazy. He's got no cockpit. How does he fly 8,000 feet? I don't know. Okay.
I don't
know how that works. Suddenly, he lost control of his plane and it began to spiral downward. The controls were going haywire as he could not speed up or slow down, and he was fearful of smashing into the mountains below. Goddard checked the altimeter when it read 1,000 feet above the ground, and it was still spiraling downward. The plane began to break through the clouds, and he was about 200 feet now, speeding down at 150 miles per hour.
Oh, no.
He recognized the Firth of Forth, even though the plane was in spiral mode, but then he was able to make out a stone seawall with a path, a road, and railings. The road seemed to be slowly rotating from left to right. So he reached 20 feet, and successfully leveled out his plane.
Oh, my gosh.
Barely missing the water and the seawall just by a few feet.
Oh, my gosh. What a freaking rock star.
Rock star.
Talk about nerves of steel.
Seriously.
Dude.
A spiraling plane going 150 miles an hour.
Dear, I would have crashed for sure.
I would have too, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Well, the fog and rain were still heavy, so it was hard for Goddard to really see, but somehow he was able to locate his position because of that road. It was a road that led to Edinburgh, and through the gloom in the distance, he could make out the Drem airfield hangars.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But unexpectedly, the sky changed from dreadful gray and wet to bright with golden sunlight. All traces of rain and the farm vanished. Goddard was astonished. He noticed the airfield was fully operational with planes and attending crew. The tarmac and hangars almost looked rebuilt and new. From his view, he could observe a number of yellow planes, one being a monoplane he could not identify as there were no monoplanes in the RAF in 1935. Below were also a number of mechanics in blue overalls, which was weird because at the time this did not fit the RAF operations. In 1935, the mechanics wore tan overalls. He was only a few feet above the ground, so he was able to make these clear observations, but none of the mechanics made any recognizable signs that they could see him or even hear his plane. As quickly as he flew over the airfield, he was again engulfed in the crazy storm. He was forced to fly his plane upward, climbing to 1,700 feet, and then it says 17,000 feet, and then by a time of 21,000 feet. Again, I'm so confused how he's doing this in a glassless cockpit. Okay. I thought he'd pass out at this time, right?
Right.
But okay, whether or not this is accurate, he did make it back to his home base safely. Okay. As soon as he landed, he told his fellow officers of what he just witnessed. Of course, they gave him quizzical looks. Was he drunk or just crazy or both? After receiving crazy looks, he made the decision to keep quiet and not spread this any further. Right. He thought of what he could do for his reputation and didn't want to be discharged or accused for having mental problems.
Right.
Fast forward to 1939. This is only 4 years later.
Okay.
Goddard went on to learn that the airfield at Drem had been refurbished. RAF trainers' planes began to be painted yellow. And of course, the mechanics switched to blue overalls. And yes, the RAF introduced a new training monoplane exactly like the one Goddard saw.
So he went forward in time.
He went forward.
The whole time I was thinking he went backward to when it was operational. He went forward. Wow. Right? What?
So Goddard went on to write about this experience in that book I mentioned earlier. So check that out if you want to read more. I mean, that's basically the whole time slip one, but
that's so cool.
So do you understand why he's so into the UFOs, the paranormal? He is all about it because he's
experienced it. That's so freaking cool, Nicole.
Do you believe it?
I love it. That reminds me of it was Haunted Castles. I did the Haunted Castle story.
Yes.
And the writer went forward in time to like 2006 or something.
Right.
And from the 1800s. That's cool.
So you can go forward.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm like so excited right now.
See, I knew you'd love this episode. I love this episode.
I love it. I love it.
Yes. All right. I've got a last one. We are running kind of long in time, but that's okay. This is so cool. I'm going to give you this last one. Okay.
Yeah. Our stitchers are used to us running long.
That's
anyway.
true. We're just longer and longer.
Yeah.
This last case, or cases, I should say, involve not just one occurrence, but at least 3. Okay. Maybe more.
Ooh.
There's just 3 that that the internet has been spreading about. So some suggest this is a case of mass hysteria, but when you have credited people of society come forth with these stories, it's hard not to believe them.
Right.
The last few decades, people have come forth about their strange time slips that happen specifically in or near Bold Street, Liverpool, England.
Ooh. Liverpool.
These time slips only happen for a very brief moment of time and don't seem to go back far, only to about the 1950s or 1960s. There is a theory, that people are experiencing these time slips because below the streets is the Liverpool Underground Railway system, and the high voltage rails form concentric circles, the center of which is roughly under Bold Street and over to Brooks Alley. So that's the theory.
Okay, so we have lots of underground energy that's circular. Okay. Yeah. She's doing a helicopter thing.
Here are 3 of those reports.
Okay.
And I copied this actually from exemplar.com, but again, it's all over the internet. Okay. It is 1996. Carol decided that she wanted to go and buy a book at Waterstone's, the large bookstore, and they started to walk towards the shop. As they approached Bold Street, Frank decided to go to another shop first. However, he bumped into a friend and stopped to chat in the street. His wife went ahead without him. A few moments later, Frank said goodbye, visited his shop, and turned to go back to meet his wife. After reaching Bold Street, he headed on towards the bookstore. As he approached, he glanced up and was surprised to see the name, Cripps, above the door. As he was about to cross over to see what was going on, a van swept past him with the name Cardin's on the side. The van driver honked his old-fashioned horn and drove past. Looking around, Frank suddenly realized that things were not quite what they should be. He looked at the cars driving past and realized that they were all old-fashioned vehicles like the ones people drove back in the 50s and 60s. And then he noticed the people. Men were wearing hats and macks, and the women were dressed in headscarves and full skirts and had old-fashioned hairstyles like the ones women wore just after the war. By this time, Frank was beginning to feel slightly freaked out. He carried on crossing the road and headed towards the store. As he got closer, he noticed in the window there were handbags, shoes, and umbrellas. Suddenly, he saw a young woman looking up at the shop sign. She looked confused. She was wearing modern clothes, and as she saw him approaching, she smiled at him. Frank went into the shop, closely followed by the young woman. When they entered, he was surprised and pleased to see that it had indeed turned back into a bookshop. The young woman smiled, shook her head, and said, "That was strange. I thought it was a new clothes shop." She walked away looking extremely puzzled.
Oh my
This
gosh.
may sound like an unlikely tale, but the odd thing is that Frank was in fact a former police officer. He was used to dealing in facts and definitely wasn't the type of person who would believe in the paranormal. Frank never stopped talking about this strange experience. Was this a time slip? Evidently, Cripps was a woman's shop that sold clothes and other goods decades before. And Cardin's was also a well-known Liverpool firm that owned vans around the same time. That was just him walking.
Yeah.
And just like experiencing a total change of time.
Right. And there was a woman right there with him
Doing the
it
same
too.
thing.
Yeah.
And he was a former police officer. Okay. Second story.
That's cool.
The second story concerns a young girl by the name of Imogen. She had decided to go into Liverpool to buy her sister Abigail a few things for her new baby. Upon arriving, she was happy to see a new mother care store that had opened up on the corner of Lord Street and Whitechapel. She wandered around the store and picked up a few baby items such as cardigans, baby bibs, and gloves. She was surprised to see how cheap the items were, but thought they were an offer since the store had just opened. Taking them to the counter, she tried to pay with her credit card. The staff member looked at her suspiciously and went off to get the manager. When she came back, she looked at the card and told Imogen that they didn't take cards. Disappointed, Imogen went and put the items back as she hadn't any money with her. When she got home, she told her mother what had happened. Her mother was surprised and really puzzled. That store closed years ago, she said. There is a bank there now. In fact, that's where I have my account.
Oh, no.
Not believing her, Imogen took her mother back to the same place the next day. And sure enough, the store wasn't there.
Oh,
it was
no.
a bank, just as her mother had told her.
That's cool.
She went into a store. What the heck?
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Isn't that crazy?
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's so cool. Nicole's just laughing at me.
Because it's insane. No, I can't. It's hard to wrap your head around sometimes.
Right?
All right. Last story. The third tale is of a young man named Sean. While shoplifting in Liverpool,
Sean.
back in 2006, Sean ran away from a security guard and headed down Hanover Street. Trying to shake off the guard, Sean turned into a dead-end street called Brooks Alley. By this time, he was out of breath and started to get a tight sensation in his chest. He soon realized that actually it wasn't a problem with him, but the atmosphere around him. He waited for the guard to come around the corner after him, but he never appeared. Thinking he had given him the slip, Sean sauntered back out and started to walk down Hanover Street again. But he soon realized that something was wrong. The road looked different, and so did the pavement. He noticed cars driving by that looked very old-fashioned, and the roadworks that he knew were there were now gone.
Oh, weird.
Soon he saw that the people around him were wearing strange clothes. Crossing over to Bold Street, he noticed that there were traffic lights where they weren't before. Bushes were growing around the Lyceum near a bar that he recognized. He carried on walking. Soon he began to feel that something was not quite right and began to panic. He realized that somehow he had stepped back in time and the time slip was not going away.
Oh, no.
Then he remembered his cell phone. Taking it out of his pocket, he tried to get a signal, but of course it didn't work. Eventually, he began to really panic, but soon spotted a kiosk selling newspapers and headed over. Leaning over the stand, he took a look at the front page of the Daily Post.
Did he take a picture with his phone?
He should have. You're right. I don't think he did. Then in bold lettering was the date, 18th May, 1967.
Dude, you take pictures
You
of
take
that stuff.
pictures. You've got your
You
freaking
have
phone
your
in your
phone,
hand.
You take pictures. The
Right?
pictures will work. You take pictures.
Take pictures. Or they could have erased.
I pinky swear, if we ever go through time slips, we take pictures.
I have my phone ready.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to do it. He wondered what to do. What would happen if he couldn't get back to his own time? What about his family and friends? Picking up his pace, he reached H. Samuel the jeweler's and tried his phone once again. This time, it worked.
Oh.
Sighing with relief, he looked around and realized that he had returned to the present. Strangely, though, he could still see people walking around in 1967 just down the end of the road.
Wait, what?
He
crossed
he crossed
the
into
border
his time.
and could see.
Yes.
Wow.
The other time.
That's cool.
By this time, Sean had seen enough and dove onto a bus to go home. When he was interviewed by the local newspaper later, he stated over 4 times the exact same account. Now, you may think that Sean was making the story up to escape from the guard, but the strange tale didn't end there. When the security guard was interviewed, he stated that when he ran after Sean and turned down the dead end alley after him, Sean had completely disappeared. When the newspaper checked the facts of Sean's story, they found that everything he said was historically accurate.
Wow, that's
Boom.
cool.
We need to go to Liverpool.
We do. We'll go to Liverpool. We'll have our phones out. We will snap pictures.
We will take tons of photos.
We should do the thing, how if you go to Four Corners,
you hold on to people.
Yeah, everyone's in a different state. Yeah. We can go. I can stand in the old time. You can stand in the old time.
I'm gonna tie a knot around you
and we'll hold hands.
No, I'm gonna put yarn around you.
Okay. We are planning our photo shoot for the time slip, guys.
It's like breadcrumbs, but I'm going to tie some yarn on you. I'm going to walk away from you. I'm going to go into these areas, see if I disappear.
That's so funny.
And then my yarn will cut off.
No.
Or it'll be there, but it's invisible because I'm in a different time.
Because the yarn didn't exist then.
That's right. My mind's going crazy.
This is so cool. I love this. I love it.
I think of Hulk. Time travel.
Right? I mean, there's so many time travel movies out there and theories and ideas.
Right.
And it's just mind-boggling because, again, I don't think in our physical realm of being in 3D, we can fully understand how time and space work. We have laws that make sense to us in the way that we exist. But man, that's some cool stuff, dude.
Some cool stuff.
If you guys enjoyed this episode, let us know. We want to hear from you, Stitchers. You can email us at theominousstitch@gmail.com. There are 2 S's, ominous and stitch. 2 S's. You can also go to any of our social medias and say hi to us there because we love talking to you guys, as we said at the top of this episode. We love talking to our Stitchers. So say hi today if you guys have experienced any time slippage or if you have any other show ideas that you want us to cover. We want to know. Let us know.
That helps me too.
We'll do it for you guys. Yeah. You can also jump over to podbean.com. That is where we host our wonderful little podcast for you guys. You can get show notes from this episode or from any previous episodes. And there's also a little button in the upper right-hand corner that you can click on that helps us out.
Helps us tremendously.
Tremendously. Yeah. Our goal is to fund this and continue to do this for you guys.
Because we do it alone.
It is just the 2 of us. Just the 2 of us. That run this little podcast for you guys. And
Rosie.
And Rosie, my dog, who keeps
me warm.
Obsessed with Nicole and is upside down on her lap right now. Oh my gosh. And she's too big to be a lap dog, but she doesn't know that.
That's okay.
She's such a good dog.
I love it. She's so calming.
So anyway, click on the patron button.
Whoop, whoop.
Let's get sidetracked from that. Become a patron today.
Please.
Help us out. We will give you shout outs. We will send you stuff.
Yep.
We will love you forever. We love you forever anyway. So that's not really conditional on you guys becoming a patron.
No, but we appreciate you listening.
We appreciate you listening. We appreciate your help.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, this is so good.
So fun.
But we have one more thing to talk about.
Which I'm excited about.
I love this movie.
Yes.
I love this movie.
She already said it.
Yeah. So it's movie time.
Okay. This week's movie review, Arrival.
Yay!
Released in 2016, IMDb rating of 7.9 stars. Synopsis. A linguist works with the military to communicate with alien life forms after 12 mysterious spacecrafts appear around the world.
Yay!
12's a good number. Okay, so 2016, Amy Adams, Hawkeye, Forrest Whitaker. What a cool movie that makes you think, it makes you feel. It's got sci-fi, it's got drama, it's got love. Oh my gosh, this movie,
it's everything.
Has everything that I ever wanted in a movie, but needs a little more horror, but that's okay. I don't mind.
There's no horror.
You get a little suspense at the beginning.
Yeah, there's a little because you don't know what the aliens are.
This movie. Yeah.
Oh, it's aliens. They come visit you.
Well, that's a synopsis.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't know what to expect if you haven't seen it. You can feel Amy Adams has this palpable portrayal.
You can feel the fear and the intrepidation that she has going into this. She very much wants to, and she very much wants to be able to communicate with them. But it's
fearful.
Terrifying to go into that situation.
Right. And then it's very similar to Sixth Sense. If you haven't seen it, spoiler alerts, go watch it. I'm gonna wait. Go watch it. Okay. That's my time for you. Okay. But you get these snippets of is this her past life? What's going on? And you see her constantly with a child.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this movie.
It gets you in the feels.
Yes.
Like it goes back to like what I was feeling earlier.
Stitch.
Just like, time with your loved ones is short. And the cool thing about this is that she learns that time is not linear. And
spoiler alert, aliens teach you that time's not linear.
Watch it, just watch it, because the way that it all unfolds is just,
it's brilliant.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful the way that
it's brilliant. And it's funny, I was watching this on my TV. Usually sometimes I'm watching this on my like phone just at night, but the sound, oh my gosh, the sound is amazing. From there was something that creeped me out at the beginning, and it was like behind me, and I was like, what? I thought that was in my house. I was like, wow, what a cool effect. There's CGI is so cool in this. It's so believable as an alien movie. And actors are great. Oh my gosh, I can't gush enough about this movie.
Yeah. It's just beautiful.
Yes.
And the way that you have to like figure out language, and the way that you get from one station to the next station, and
smart. You believe that she did this. I was like, wow, she did a lot of lessons.
It's just very well written, because a lot of times you're like, you have to suspend a lot of belief on like, okay, why was this linguistics professor chosen to go talk to the aliens? Well, they explain it very simply.
They go through everything.
They're like, you helped us decode something. You still have clearance, and we need somebody with clearance right now. Let's go.
Yeah.
And
she didn't know what to do, and they're like, nope, okay.
They're like, we need to know what they want. She's like, in order to get there, we need to understand like
basics, super basics,
dog,
communication.
Cat.
Yes.
Like, do they understand what a question is? Do they understand the difference in the plural your or you
yes.
or the singular you,
or meanings of certain words? It's so cool.
Yeah,
it's so cool. Oh, I love it so
in
much.
The language that they developed, like for this,
they created a whole language.
They created a whole language, and it's perfect for what the story is, because it's a non-linear language.
Exactly. Oh,
it
so
happens.
Good.
It's a circle.
Their
whole sentence is a circle.
Yeah, she pieces everything together because time's not linear.
Time is not linear.
So crazy. Blew my mind.
It's a beautiful movie.
I love this movie.
I love it too. And then also the way that people react, and they don't understand what's going on, and the political, all the toilet paper's gone, all the. Right?
People are getting their guns. They're like, we can't sell guns anymore because people are going crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's scary, because it's very real life. My only complaint, it's funny, I always have to pick something apart. Oh my God.
That's okay.
When she's having her flashbacks, it's only between the time of her kid until her kid dies. Spoiler alert.
Well, I mean, that happens kind of in the beginning.
Right.
See the kid
die. The only thing I didn't like, I was like, if time's not linear, why wouldn't we see her life beyond that? Like,
well, because that's not relevant to the story.
I know, with the movie.
That's why.
But I would love to see it.
I'm sure she saw everything.
But we should see it
and
too.
has experienced everything.
I want to see
that would
more.
have made the movie so long.
I know.
So,
any snippets, they could have just thrown in it.
They were just making the
point of the movie.
I know.
Yeah. I know.
Keep it relevant.
It's relevant for her whole life, though. Does she ever get back together with Hawkeye, or no? I'm just weird that way. No, but other than that, it's such a beautiful sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Good job.
It's
Paramount, right? It's a Paramount movie.
I think so. Yes.
I saw that we bought this movie when it came out, so we have it on Apple, but it's on Paramount Plus.
Yes.
I could stitch a little here and there, but most of the time I wanted to watch.
Yeah. You want to see, because it's beautiful to watch the way they conceived how the spaceship works, and how gravity works, and how the aliens can interact with the people and the different atmospheres.
Her flashbacks are quiet sometimes, so you miss things if you don't watch clearly.
There's a lot of like little subtle things that you need to pay attention to. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch.
You should watch it, everybody.
Yeah.
Well,
and the aliens are super peaceful.
Yes.
And I love that.
The fact that they're there because they wanted to offer help because apparently we helped them later. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we helped them, so they're helping us.
Yeah. We coexist.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
How many
kumbaya.
stitches would you give this?
What did IMDb give
7.9.
So that's like almost an 8. I was going to say 8. We'll say 8.25.
Why do you give it
8.5?
Why are you minusing points?
I'm not minusing points. I said 8.
Yeah, but out of 10.
Oh, I should be a 10 out of 10?
No. I'm just asking you. Why are you giving it not a 10? Okay,
oh,
Rosie.
I know. My dog is about to like completely rip off everything. She's falling off the couch.
Left hair all over me.
She's surprised she fell off the couch because I think she was asleep.
Dog.
I don't know. I mean, I probably should give it a higher ranking. You're right. I'll give it a higher ranking.
I'm just wondering why not a higher, but
okay. Well,
why where you are?
Okay. I don't know. I mean, 8 is usually like my super high ranking. We'll push it up to a 9.
Okay.
I don't think I can give anything a 10 yet because this isn't a movie that I'll just watch nonstop.
Oh, well, there you go. That's what I
mean. To me,
mean.
a 10 is a nonstop. I will watch it anytime it's on.
Okay.
It's like the perfect movie. It's the movie that I take on the island with me. This, if it was on the island, I could watch it. It's beautiful, but it's not like necessarily one that I'm like, you
have to watch over
gaga
and over.
over. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's beautiful and I love it. And I don't really see much wrong with it. I think they do a very good job explaining everything.
I think it's like the Sixth Sense where you know what to expect. So that's why you probably don't. You're like, it's gorgeous, but you know what's happening. I think that's why.
Yeah. And I get mad at all the other nations because they decide the whole point is about communication and then they all decide that they're not going to communicate with each other.
Right.
And that always makes me mad because people are dumb. I'm like,
that's good they include that.
The more we communicate and the more we try to understand each other, which is why I love Amy Adams' character so much because that's the whole point. She's like, the more we try to understand each other, the better. I hope my dog's going nuts. There must be squirrels outside.
Squirrel.
And also the fact that she has a child and the child gets sick
and she decides to still have
the child
even though she knew.
Beautiful because that experience and those moments that you have when you have a kid are irreplaceable. So any time you get to experience humanity at such an intimate level, it's worth it. No matter how long that experience is.
She's gonna cry again. Okay.
I know. See? Yay, perimenopause.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I give it about an 8.5.
Oh, see, you made me do a 9 and you're like 8.5.
See how I did that?
Oh, Nicole, you're my favorite. You're my favorite. I love you. You're so funny. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I love you too. What a fun episode.
This was an awesome episode. Thank you guys for stitching along with us today. And until next time, we'll see you, Stitchers.
See you, Stitchers.